This video, I'm going to be showing you how to digitize this image right here. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere on your timeline, your Instagram timeline, Little Miss such and such. This one we have is the Little Miss Overthinks All the Time. I'm sure we can all relate to this one. I actually just got this one in as a custom order, so I figured I would go ahead and show you guys how to digitize something like this. So let's get started. So when you open up Hatch, you're going to go over here to the top left hand corner and click New Blank Design, and that is basically going to open up this gray screen with the border, this red border right here. Now I'm going to locate the file that I just downloaded. It's right here, and once you locate your file, you're just going to press down on it and drag it into the software like this. Okay, and so now I'm going to go over to the left hand side and click on Auto-digitize, and I'm going to go down to click to fill, and I'm going to go right over here and click the design. And the software is basically just detecting how many colors are in this design. So it instantly popped up with 37 colors, and the reason it did that is basically because this image is kind of on the blurry side, definitely heavily pixelated, especially like right around here. So yeah, that's why it popped up with 37, but that's perfectly fine because all you really need to do in this situation is count how many colors you see and put that number right here in this box. So I see the color black, I see yellow, I see red. I think that's just 3. So I'm gonna go down to 3. And I'm not going to press enter because if I press enter, it's going to press OK, and that's going to take me out of the screen. So I'm just going to press this arrow to kind of like go to 4. And then once it goes to 4, I'm going to go down to 3 to see what it looks like. So with 3 colors, it's only telling me there's the white background, the black, and the yellow. So I'm going to go up to 4. And that gave me the bow ties, and even though it's not in red, I'm still going to stick with this because the less numbers, the better. It's not going to be as pixelated, it's not going to give you as many issues in the long run. You're going to have a much easier time digitizing an image with less colors. So even though, like I said, it's not red, you can still go in and change the color to red. So right now I'm going to go ahead and press OK, and for the embroidery detail, I'm also going to leave it as fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the character because the letters is pretty much the easiest part. We don't really have to worry about that. So I'm going to start with the hair. So I'm just going to zoom in, and as you can see, you know, it picked up a lot of different colors here. Don't let this intimidate you because remember, you are creating this design, okay? Just because it doesn't come out the way you thought it was going to come out, at the end of the day, you still have the ability to change the nodes and the angles and everything. So don't let that deter you. And I'm going to press click to fill without holes. So there's actually 2 different buttons here. This one is for digitizing large artwork shapes with parallel to Tommy fill. If there's a hole somewhere, it's going to leave that hole there. As you can see right here, there is a brown outline around the yellow circle, and instead of pressing the yellow circle, I'm going to press the brown one, and then I'm just going to change the color, right? So there we go. And now I can change that to yellow whenever I get the chance to, but I'm going to go ahead and continue. So I'm going to do this one over here, this one, and this one. And so now I can come over here and press the color as a whole. And I'm going to come right back over here and I'm going to hit on smooth shapes. And what this does, this is going to lessen the node count to the best of the software's ability. So of course you can go in and manually adjust the node count yourself, but this is what the software will do for you, and then you can kind of go from there. And I'm going to come over here to the color wheel, and I'm going to kind of just guesstimate the yellow for now, so I just know that this is yellow and not the brown. And I'm just going to come over this way, You just want to make sure you're not jumping from one side of the design to the other side of the design. So I'm going to come up here to the hair and I'm going to click to fill without holes again. I'm going to use the same scenario, and the way to know that this will work for you is if you hover over the outline, and if it covers the entire middle fill, that's how you know it's going to take over that fill as well. So I wish I had an example here for you where it didn't do that, but I'm getting lucky and it's doing that for me. So like I said, I'm just going to click to fill without holes, and it's going to disregard that yellow. And I'm going to scroll over here as well and do the same thing until I can't. And I'm going to go down. And I got pretty lucky this time. Usually I can only get lucky with this method for like a couple of the fills, and then some of the other fills it doesn't work and I have to kind of go in and manually adjust it. But like I said, I got lucky. So I'm just going to finish all of this yellow right here, and I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to click on the brown color under the color tab and sequence, and I'm going to go over here to the left and hit smooth shapes, and that's going to reduce the node count, and I'm going to change the color to yellow. And so now I can zoom in and focus on the main part of the body because I just finished the hair. For the body, I'm going to just use the regular click to fill, and I'm going to just go in and manually adjust it, because there's going to be a lot of gapping if I don't do that. Because if you can see right here, there's the brown outline just like there was on the other ones right here. And I'm going to press reshape, and reshape is how you get to your node. So if you're wondering how can I get these blue circles and yellow squares to pop up, you got to press reshape. That's how you get those to come up. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete these up here. And if you have a MacBook, I'm using Command Delete to delete the nodes. And if you have an HP, you just gotta hit delete. And it takes a little bit long to load because there's a lot of nodes that it has to account for every time I adjust it. And just to show you what I'm doing, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So right here is the yellow fill, and right where the nodes are is where the yellow fill is going to end when you stitched out, but it's actually also going to end a little bit inward some, because that's just how the machine works. It does a lot of pulling, and that pulling can, over exaggerate the gapping. So basically what I'm doing is overlapping the fills, so when the embroidery machine starts to do the usual pulling, it won't be as over exaggerated. I'm basically just going to bring these nodes over the black fill just a little bit. And all I'm doing to grab the nodes together, I am starting a little bit upwards, and I'm clicking the screen on the left hand side of the pad. I have a MacBook, so I don't really have a mouse, but I guess you could also consider that a left click. So I am left clicking, and I'm holding down, and I'm dragging with my middle finger sort of downwards, and that's how I'm making this box. And then when I'm ready to grab the nodes that I've selected, I literally just let go of my pointer finger. And to drag them, I can pick any one of the highlighted 4 nodes, and I can drag them all together. And if I want to exit out of that mode, I just kind of go over here and click out of it, and it takes me out of that. Okay, now we're back up to the top of her hair. So now we can focus in on the facial expressions, and I think I've already decided I'm going to go ahead and delete them. There will be gapping if I don't do that, so especially just because how small these details are, the little freckles. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to hit Reshape, in case you weren't already in Reshape, and I'm going to do the same method I did to drag all of the nodes together, but instead of dragging them, I'm going to delete them. So just grab them, or as many as I can. If software is kind of funny, you can only delete like one fill or non-fill at a time, so I can't grab this entire section of nodes because it's only going to select the tiny blue ones. Okay, and again, the reason I did that is to prevent gapping, because those details are so much smaller than these fills, so they're just going to get so lost in the sauce. It's easier to put a satin fill on top of a tatami fill to prevent any further gapping. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and as you can see, her hands are squares. They really should be circles. But as soon as I touch one of these squares, every other node around it is going to mess up. I will show you. Just like that. So this is the tricky part, and I say it's tricky because you can't touch one node without messing up all of them, and then you kind of have to like go about it a different way. I don't even know how to explain it, but this is how I go about this. Instead of fixing the yellow, I just fixed the black fill. So let me show you. And someone probably has already guessed it. I'm basically just going to click on this brown fill instead of the black fill, and I'm going to use the same method that I did in the beginning with the hair. So I'm going to press click to fill without holes, and I'm going to hover over this, and I'm going to click it. And that basically just filled the entire hands for me. And like I said before, I can just change the color to black. So I'm going to click it and smooth the shapes out, make sure there's no unnecessary nodes, and I'm going to change the color to black. And I'm also going to go ahead and put back in those details that I took out. So I'm going to zoom back in to do that. Now, sometimes when you hover over some fills, for whatever reason, it won't do this for the other eye, but it will do it for the other eye. So as you can see, when I hover over this one, I was able to click to fill it, but when I hover over this one, it only offers me the outline. So here is another tip if you ever run into an issue like this. I'm just going to duplicate the other eyeball. So I go over here, click the eyeball, I go right up here, click duplicate, or you can hit Control and D if you're on a MacBook and slide it right over here, kind of guesstimate a little bit and hover over and click to fill to bring that eye in the right location. So I'm going to drag it over just a little bit more and just kind of play around with it just to make sure it's in the right spot. Okay, somehow I accidentally duplicated it again. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's pretty good. So everything else is good. I'm going to change these moles over to the black thread as well. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom back out, and before I finish the rest of the black thread, I'm going to go ahead and do the bow. So there's that one, and then I'm gonna slide all the way over here and do the other one. And I'm gonna click the color over here in the panel of sequence, and I'm gonna go right back over here to the smooth shapes button and press OK to lessen the node count, and then I'm going to change the color to red. And now I'm also going to go ahead and click to fill the black thread, because I believe this is the last one. Okay, so I'm going to also do the same thing, press smooth shapes, make sure the node count is not too crazy, and since it is the outline, I'm going to press satin. I'm also going to change the object properties of the other black fill, because I just realized I didn't do that. And before I do that, I'm going to make sure that the node count is also under control. I'm going to press satin again, and that is it for that. I think I've just decided I want the bows to be satin as well, so let's do that. Very nice, and the hair too, because it's just going to look amazing. There we go. And now for the letter portion, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to press select. I'm going to grab the entire character and I'm going to drag her over here. I'm going to drag her away from everything. So I'm going to change it to omit. And I'm going to keep this on fill. And it's going to omit. Omit means leave out, if you didn't know that. So basically, it's only going to fill the black thread. So now I'm going to press, okay, I switched it back to details because over here it says details, but honestly, I feel like it always says the same thing. Press OK. And just give it a second to load, and I'm going to zoom in, and it did beautifully. The only thing that did not work was the M and the R. That's fine. Going to change it to satin. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out again. I'm going to pan back over here. And I'm going to grab the second character that has been created, and I'm going to delete it because we don't need it because we already have the other one we just did. And now I'm going to press the design that I brought into the software. Be careful not to press the design that is on here, but you're pressing the image that is behind the design. And then I'm going to press delete. Wait, hold on. Press undo. I'm going to drag the character back over here first because I want to make sure she's like in the middle. So I'm going to drag her right on top. I'm going to hit design to zoom back in, and I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to press the background and I'm going to press delete. And just like that, the new trend has been digitized. You guys, let me know what you think about this design down below. Go ahead and subscribe, turn on the post notification bell, and let me know what you think down below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!